Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm NAsution. Today, I'm going to describe articles that I have read before. Okay, let me share my screen. All right. In here, I have 10 articles that I have read. So, I would like to mention the interesting of the article that I have read. It's really unique because I'm not focused only for one specific, maybe for speaking, for reading, or for grammar, but I have variety of articles such as how to explore about the collaborative learning and how to get assessment for students and how about the TOEFL itself. So I find some extraordinary writers from Christian, Hasan Al-Raya, David, Sanjita, Anna, Ratu, Fahriani, Nurwahida, Dian Susila, Dwi Jayanti, and Mida Husna. Thank you so much for your great idea and and share your knowledge, your point of view for me. And let's begin with the first article. So the first article is about exploring FL teachers' perspective on collaborative learning activities in senior high school context. So we need to highlight collaborative learning is a group learning process. That is a group in the class process. So they should work together. They should share their idea together with their friends. So this is the time for students to active to explore the knowledge to practice in the classroom. So teachers just only provide and facilitate the class activities. So about the article itself, because the era right now is a very globalization, so education links students as the center of the class, preparing them to be more adaptable, professional in the future. Through collaborative learning practice, learners will be able to obtain various advantages beneficial for their future working fields, namely becoming critical thinkers, being effective problem solvers, possessing and teaching presentation skill, improving their social skill, and knowing how to cope with possible conflicts. So teachers provide some topics and then students will explore about the topic itself with their friends. So learners are given to establish positive social interdependence, stronger commitment, and more ambitious goals to support other learning process to attain the style learning objective. When applying collaborative learning activities in the classroom context, since this learning dynamic are time-consuming, energy draining, and painstaking process that require a higher degree of commitment, effort, and social can work consistently. The finding of the research effort teachers need to be more supportive learning partner for the learners. So in this articles tells thought about if we want to make a collaborative learning, so we need a lot of preparation to make it success. So how about the finding of this article? So in here, the first action that language teachers need to take enable of learners to grow their collaborative competence is to turn individuals into socialized persons. So we don't have monotone method to guide our learning process. So make discussion more meaningful, strengthen their ongoing learning development, and define and relate their existing peer knowledge through knowledge organization, positive social interdependence, and fruitful discussion. Students will be able to become more proficient and compassionate academic together. So that's the finding of this article. So collaborative learning can support learners to improve their learning process. So it's all beside that it's also can improve their socialization between their friends, their teachers, and their awareness for their study. Okay, The next article is about the effectiveness of cooperative learning activities in enhancing AFL learners fluency. So this is still about the cooperative learning. So this article provides information about the aims, okay, about the cooperative learning enhancing AFL learners fluency. Okay, so this article aims to examine the effectiveness of cooperative learning, excuse me, in improving the fluency of AFL students using an interview recording instrument approach to test the data collection. So this is qualitative data, and the SPS is software program as a tool for statistically processing data. The sample consists of 48 first-year students studying English and the Faculty of Education at the Islamic University of Omdurman, Sudan. Students were divided into experiment and control group. The most important results are statistical significant correlation between cooperative learning activities and the increase or influence of AFL learners. So this article still relate to the first article that I have mentioned before. So when students carry out cooperative learning activities, it's seen that there is a valuable process that occurs. These are interaction, active discussion, cooperation, participation, and good relationships. So students learn from one another at a deeper level and feel better about themselves and their interaction with their peers. In addition, students learn valuable social skills. So to summarize all this about this article, so this article students from the control group make a significant of process in their fluency. And meanwhile, the student of the experimental group make the progress in their fluency. They can express themselves freely, interact purposefully with each student. Also, avoid most type of hesitation, avoid most of the psychological barriers in the learning process context. So they can develop confidence, they feel happy and comfortable since using the language smoothly, and desire for future practice in spoken English. So this is quasi experimental and about the student who doesn't get action about the cognitive learning still stuck or natural, but in the student who get action about the collaborative learning, they could improvement about their learning strategies in to got more understanding about the learning process. Okay, that is the second article. Next is the next article is about making cooperative learning work theory into practice. So in this article is more specific with the teachers, the educators know the theory, so they should make into practice. So, and also I would like to mention about the, if you know the theory, so please make it in the action. So that's the theory in this articles. So these articles provide information about cooperative learning is the instructional use of small group in which students work together to maximize their own and each other learning. There are three types of cooperative learning: formal cooperative learning, informal cooperative learning, and cooperative-based group. So the basic element that make cooperation work are positive interdependence, individually accountability, promotive interaction, appropriate use of social skill, and failure that how to improve the effectiveness of the group. When efforts are structured cooperatively, there is considerable evidence that students will exert more effort to achieve both more positive and supportive relationship and develop more healthy ways. So guys, I wanna highlight about the cooperative learning itself. So if we use cooperative learning method, so it's a very many beneficial for our learning classroom. Besides they can make active student, they also can increase student performance in class. So the class is not time for teachers but time for students. Besides that, we get the information in this article. So everyone has to work together. If we cannot get everybody working toward common goals, nothing is going to happen. Okay, if we don't have proper time for students to show up in the classroom, so they will do nothing. This interaction pattern affect numerous interactional outcomes, which may be support subsums within the three broad and interrelated categories of effort to achieve and quality of relationship among participant and participant with psychological adjustment and social competence. That's the benefit of the articles. And don't worry, beside the benefit, that also a weakness of that they'll be taking a lot of time. It needs full preparation to make success because this method is very extra power to make it. Okay, let's move to the next article. This article, the fourth article, about technique for improving speaking fluency of students. So, how we can improve the speaking of the students so they can they motivate no worries for the maybe grammar, vocabularies, or stuff idea. So how we could improve speaking of our students. So the topic will be discussed in this article. So this article provides information about action plan and implementation to improve the speaking fluency of junior secondary English foreign language students. Various technique for developing English speaking proficiency and their implication, their effectiveness and ineffectiveness as well. This further demonstrates the role of various techniques to help students develop English speaking proficiency. Although students are taught in English from the very beginning of their school, many of them are not fluent in English. Fluency is an individual skill, whereas some students speak English fluently and others do not. Thus, for students having mixed abilities, the fluency includes the ability to speak without awkward pauses or for a relative long period, as I mentioned before. So there is a fluency problem among students 7th grade, where the students are from an English high school. They have mixed abilities and can express this idea and understand correct English. Whenever they have to speak, they use negative terms and then transform unnecessarily in hopes of increasing their fluency or employment, the greater employment aid difference in the present. So, in the object of this research, the problem itself, students start how to speak. Not only that, they commonly use the host language. So, besides that, also this article also tells about every week I mean, the strategy to reduce this problem. Every week, the researchers make a class full of pairs and group of students where they work together and present in front of the class. The first intervention is sharing or revealing yesterday events. They can share good and bad experience, then move on to the partner work and formal text of presentation like wise storytelling technique are used during the week where different students share stories. After that, again, verbal boxing and customer summary and formal textual presentation and expressing class activities were intervention smoothly. So we these articles ask the educators to have enough method, maybe not enough, maybe have thousand method to provide student because student heterogeneous in the classroom, so they need different interaction in the classroom. There are speak up student, there are calm student, there are monotone student, there are active student, and there's so many characteristics in the classroom. So that's why uh, teachers need to have several strategies to improve improve this learning process. So that's the content of the article 4. Next to the article 5. Okay. Next one is cooperative learning as an evidence-based teaching strategies. So what teachers to know, what teachers know, believe, and how they use it. In this article, provide information about cooperative learning as an evidence-based teaching strategy. In cooperative learning, the teacher arranges student interaction and prepare them to work together so that students work together in small groups that support each other learning process. The study investigate whether the empirical evidence of the effectiveness of cooperative learning is reflected in the professional competence of teacher and their teaching practice. Researchers survey for 1,495 language teachers in Poland, measuring their knowledge and belief about cooperative learning and the use of cooperative learning in the classroom. Although teachers know well about the principle of cooperative learning, they only know the methods for implementing cooperative learning in the classroom. And teachers agree that cooperative learning is effective for academic and social learning. Students can student can provide student with individual support for the learning process. So for it has 5 articles to be read about the cooperative learning. So from article 1 to article 5 still connect, still support each other. But I would like to say about the content of the article. There is a fluency problem among 7th grade students, where the students are from English in high school. So they still have problem in the ability to use the target language and cannot express this idea and understand correct English. Whenever they have to speak, they use Nepal terms and the gerund form necessarily. So they still use the host language. Besides that, in hopes of increasing their fluency, the researchers implement a different intervention. Along with some management issues, she also able to develop the student fluency where they express the idea in group in front with confidence and they do not use Nepal terms when speaking. Along with fluency, the technique help manage the class. So still relate that cooperative learning can make student active, can make student confidence with themselves before calm to speak up, before become silent to active. That's the idea of the article 5. Move to the next article. Article 6 is about assessing student speaking ability using communicative language testing approach on secondary level in the pandemic era. So by reading this article, readers can find out which type of speaking skill in the communicative language test approach are used by teachers at the secondary level and which of the 5 types of speaking skill assessment in communication language tests are the most widely used by teachers during the pandemic era. Assessment is the process of education to determining student abilities and achievement, and the 4, an essential aspect of education. After providing teaching materials in class, the teachers must use the most appropriate tools, method, and procedure to evaluate students. So this is the issue and topic of this article. After give students some knowledge, how educators should evaluate them with the good evaluation. Good evaluation. Excuse me. So the result of the assessment of student knowledge of certain English skill can be informative and then can determine the best strategy or action to correct this weakness. Assessment is an important component of the learning process. As a result, this is seen as success or failure of the process of learning and teaching students in the classroom. So at the end of the class, maybe teachers need to make a reflection about the learning teaching strategies. So after get the result of the evaluation, teachers should reflect whether the method, whether the strategy can connect with the capability of the student itself. Besides that also, excuse me, from the article, it can be concluded that the problem occurs because young learners are still low in the learning in the learning initiatives, have weak self-regulation, and have short attention spans, which result in fact inefficiency online English for learners. Online learning prevents teachers from promoting children's second language learning by working together in small groups, such as completing assignment, creating product, building spoken vocabulary, practicing English, etc. As long as online learning is ultimately a fair assessment of young learners, value for teachers because the presence of presential assistance affect the cognitive skill of young learners. All right, that's the content of the article 6. Move to the article 7. It's about teachers challenging and teaching online English to young learners because study in pandemic era. So this study express and explore the challenge of primary school teachers in teaching English online to young learners. This study mainly focused on several aspects, including learning activities, time management, and student assessment. Apart from the challenge faced by teachers, this study also explores how teachers face this challenge. Therefore, to answer this objective, this study presents the following research questions such as what is the teacher's view of online class teaching for young learners? And what are the challenges of online English teachers for young learners? And the last one, how does the teachers to solve the problem? This research uses a qualitative design with a case study approach. So, assessing communicative language and to increase the level of language education, encourage students and promote the learning process. When creating communicative language that the test maker must specific exactly what they expect examinee do when using the target language in giving setting what is being tested. So what so this is a very interesting topic about the article 7. So the article provide information challenge teaching online for English learners. So let's move to the next article. Article stands article 8, sorry. It's about English teaching challenge in constructing remote English summative assessment during COVID-19. These journals to investigate the challenges of English teachers in compelling distance English summative assessment for junior high school students during COVID-19 pandemic. The method used in this research is qualitative method with descriptive research with a case study design. The object of the study selected from this article are 33 junior high school English teachers from 8 major provinces in Indonesia, highlighting technical issues and the validity and reliability of tests being the main challenge when teachers compose long-distance summative assessment for junior high school students with the conclusion that during the COVID-19 pandemic, most junior high school teachers face many challenges and can overcome this problem, but the solution given is become technology literate teacher. So beside that, there is also a problem for teachers when they are teaching the an online platform in the pandemic era. So summative evaluation is used to ensure that students have met the learning objective. So summative evaluation one of the solution for teachers to use the evaluation for the students or have reached the required level of competence when assessing student. Teachers should consider the following criteria such as validity, reliability, clarity, and avoidance of vulnerability to technical problem. Since the main purpose of assessment is to evaluate student learning on specific learning outcomes, the assessment method must be appropriate to assess the achievement of the learning objectives, or we can say validity before disturbing an evaluation. Make a list of sample questions and, if possible, to discuss them with student online. The last is to avoid vulnerability to technical problems to maintain academic honesty. Okay, that Ninth article is about the lecture's English ability through the TOEFL test. So this journal aims to find out the described lecture English skill which can be seen through the TOEFL test. This research method is descriptive and qualitative though. So the researchers gave a TOEFL like the lectures to 109 lectures as a research subject. TOEFL ability is mapped into a common European framework of reference for language measure of for different level, namely A1, A2, B1, B2, and C. In conclusion, most of the lectures English skill, listening structure, and writing expression and reading are still very weak. So the research question is, how much is the English ability of lectures at UIN MB through the TOEFL test? So in this article also, tell us about the many factors that influence a person's success in mastering a language, such as motivation, language talent, and one's study habits, as well as other external factors. Therefore, the low result of or success on the TOEFL test is also influenced by these study habits. Factors that influence failure to do the TOEFL test, namely factors of age, intelligence, and the talent. The factors are personality factors consisting in anxiety, self-esteem, adventurous spirit, depression, extraversion, and depression. So the last one of this article review is about the validity and reliability analysis of English National Final Examination for junior high school. So this article about one particular this article provides information about the one particular concern in study relates to the equality of the test administered in language testing and assessment to measure the quality of the test. We know the quality test. The study used the descriptive research approach. In the study, descriptive data were used as the main source with additional numerical data to measure the validity score. And the data was collected from the 2018 National Examination Questionnaire, the 2018 and National Examination Result and Succeed, and the junior high school syllabus. The study involved the English subject teachers as a content validity analysis. Based on the result of the analysis, it was concluded that the test, had met many criteria. First, from content validity, this test is valid, and because 46 item, which is 92% of the English National Examination question for the 2017 till up to 2018 academic year are found related to this syllabus. So it can be concluded that for teachers who have an obligation to make tests, it is advisable to continue to develop the syllabus and materials to be gathered and relate to the needs student in language. So the teacher's ability to arrange a good test will affect the achievement of the English final examination result. For researchers, especially for the next researchers, especially in the fields of language and education, this research can provide critical information about the quality of the test related to the principle of the assessment, as well as especially content and construct validity and reliability. So that's all about the review articles. So guys, I'm so sorry if I have mistake during the presenting this article, and hopefully it's clear enough for you. And let's say Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.